And that, my friends, is what we call crushed. And we have just popped up like a daisy. And just as we were speaking about him. It's funny that, just as we're talking about 42 AA. And I think his call there is pretty reasonable. Cha-ching! What's gonna happen? Holy lolies! Look at this action! Action Jackson. This guy's gonna fold. He's only got 12 chips left. He's getting... Work out his pot odds. He's getting 100,000 to 1. Oh my lord. We have got these guys absolutely crushed. And we have just popped up like a daisy. And the best thing to do when you pop up like that is to quickly donk off all your chips. So I'm just thinking if we can raise here. I just think maybe he's going to 3-bet a bit, this guy. It's kind of close. So we're 3 of 7 now. Final table bubble. It's 4. I think I will raise this one up. Actually get pretty good leverage against him, and we haven't been really 3-betting too much. So at the same time, he's a good player. And so I want to just try and keep him not controlling things, you know. That's why the 3-bet there, just to sort of soft. It's kind of like a low blow, like just a, well, not a low blow, but it was just a you know, just a stomach punch, just to sort of just say, hey buddy, you know, just slow down a bit, because we don't want him just running over the table and building his stack back up, you know. We want to give him something to think about. And I mean, it's going to take more than one low blow, but it's important to try and, now we have this stack, think about winning. And so, you know, I want to just try and keep him a little bit short. I mean, not that he's short, but I just don't want him to get chips, basically. Is the best way to say it. Don't want him to get chips. And he has limped now, so that's encouraging. And I think I will just check here. But I think if we had have smashed it, he probably isn't going to call a smash. We do flop reasonably well. I think we can bet here. It's probably pretty close. I think he actually checks back sometimes with a jack or an ace for value to get value in later streets. But at the same time, I think a lot of his hand range contains like king 10, queen 10, 9 10, queen 9 suited maybe as well. I don't know if we can actually don't know if we can fold to a river bet. Yeah, 9 10. It looked like he was going to have that sort of range, those sort of combos in his limping range. So fold there, and just sort of hopefully he sees that we do actually fold. You know, we do fold small blinds, because he's seen us stealing a bit. So I want to show that we fold, so that when we steal, we get a little bit more credit, because we don't just want him always calling in position against us. It would be nice to get a fold once in a while. This godliker is pretty decent, I think, without being fantastic. I think I'm just going to give him that one. You know, he's got a stack where he can float, he can call, he can 3-bet, he can do a lot of things. And we only had a pretty trashy hand. Same again. Just trying to pick and choose here when we bring it in. Pretty good spot. Pretty good. Did I say pretty good? I meant very, very good. And we will be going to the final table now with a few chips to play with. And a decent seed as well. And we lost another player, so we're actually 5-handed already. So, I don't know who this guy is, but he's got himself a bit of a stack to play with. I think against a 3x I'm going to fold there. Pretty close here, ace-8. Again, we've got that vulnerable stack size. It looks really nitty when you fold ace-8 here. It folds to you in the hijack, you've got ace-8. You know, folding looks very nitty, but at the same time, these guys just get tremendous leverage against us. What are we going to do here? We're going to attack this guy. I think not quite. And you know, he could have a hand there that we have crushed, but just knowing your opponent's behind, and like I said, he's very capable and he's playing well. And you got to anticipate your players behind attacking you in that spot. You know, we can consider jamming, but yeah, I mean, I just don't think ace-8 off in that instance is terrific. Yeah, I mean, even though I think he can be light, you know, I mean, he's obviously committed to the small blind if he jams, but I don't think that's going to be enough to deter him too much from 3-betting a hand like ace-2 suited. You know, if the small blind happens to wake up on the hand, so be it. If you have ace-2 suited, you still have pretty good equity anyway. And a good price when you consider all the dead money that's been created. At the same time, he just puts us under a lot of pressure with our M12 to 13 sort of 14 stack. And so you've got to be careful in that sort of zone when you have opponents behind capable of attacking. And at the moment, all of these guys seem pretty capable. Yeah, just going to defend. This guy doesn't fold to a lot of 3-bets. But 3-betting is definitely an option. He steals a reasonable amount, but not tons. I think a lot of the time here he's got like ace-jack with a diamond. Or he could have flopped the nuts. That's possible, but... interesting that he just gave up. I didn't really expect that. I think I'll wait actually here against this guy. Pretty close. He actually has 0 fold to 3-bet, which is a little bit concerning. He also has big stack and might just think he's the boss on campus. Call in position and try and make life for us difficult. And we could spew a ton of chips. I just think maybe we can find a better spot. But it's close. It's close. If we have pretty good fold equity, it's definitely okay. And it seems like he has come with a plan to sort of open a lot, as he should. Wow, pads his ability 97. Up half a mil. If you don't mind. 1, 2, 3, 44. This is a pretty obvious 3-bet, but that doesn't mean it's not going to work at the same time. I think I'll wait. They're all very borderline, aren't they? It's all just like, you know, every hand I'm like, we could probably raise here. Because in all honesty, I mean, it is close. I mean, a lot of these decisions are close. I like a 3-bet there. Small blind went for it, and Hess snap folded. You know? It is interesting that Carpe Diem, that Zogo door is just flatted behind Carpe here. Because Carpe is pretty short, and I think Zogo is being a bit of a fish. He's flatting behind with hands that he shouldn't be. So there's a bit of a hit to Pats. It just evens up the field a bit. So we've been a little bit quiet. You know, we a couple of 3-bets and opens. We could certainly have been gone for the Jack-9 suited, the other one, the last hand on the right. Very close again. We could go either way here too, couldn't we? I think I'm going to call, and if we get squeezed, I'm going to shove. But we don't get squeezed. Interesting spot here. Really torn between, you know, pot controlling and raising. I mean, the problem with raising is we don't get called by anything worse. But at the same time, there's already 24,000 out there, and our hand needs some protection. The other problem is if we raise, and then he ships or re-raises, we're probably going to have to fold. It just puts us in tough spots. So I'm probably just going to call and make up our mind on the turn. And he has just smashed again. It's a pretty big bet. So I'm just trying to work out if he's trying to fold. I mean, he may think he can fold ace high. He probably thinks we have ace high a lot, or just floating. The thing that worries me about this bet here is it's a very large bet. He could have Jack Queen some of the time, this guy on the right, but if he has, it's just bad luck. I think we're going to have to... Wow, it's such a big bet, though. I think I'm going to call. It's probably the worst card that could have come. I think I'm going to fold now. Yeah, it's pretty annoying. I think he barrels a lot there with clubs. 5, 3, 4, 5. For that, it's 3, 4, 5, almost 6. I think because there's so much already out there, just shoving here is fine. Pretty sure low would have you know, 3-bet or jammed himself with a better hand. There's just so much already out there to pick up, and 42 AA steals pretty wide, so I think it's probably better than just yeah, I mean, I think it's marginally better than just 3-betting, just to shove, but I mean, you can just 3-bet. Looks squeezy, but I think the squeeze actually looks pretty strong itself. So the 7's hand, I was actually going to call river, I think, if it bricked, just because I think that the thing is that let's just talk about this for a minute. I think he's stealing pretty wide, so, and I think he's going to c-bet a lot on the 4-8-8 board, and at the same time, I mean, his stats don't say that he c-bets too relentlessly, so that's interesting. 5, 1, 6. Wow, he has just come to play, hasn't he? I think if this was King Jack suited, I'd actually be thinking about just shoving it in here. So I think on this sort of board, probably checking is probably okay. I mean, we have the best hand a lot. We have a gutser. We can't call a check raise. We don't necessarily need to bloat the pot. We can probably call on most turns, especially fives. So he had aces and just crushed Satoshi's world. Give him a good game. So we can probably bet here. So we're M10 and only four-handed, so we can probably do a couple of different things here. 3, 4, 5, 6. 5, 6, 7. 12. I think I'm just going to jam. It's slightly deep, but not really. I mean, it is, but it isn't, because it's only four-handed, and at the same time we're the shortest stack, so we need to get busy. You know, if it's normal play, it seems... The funny thing about final table like this, and you've heard me talk about like this a lot in the other videos, is that the Harrington effective M at final tables, as players drop, you have to get more aggressive. And, you know, in normal play against a cutoff open, M10.5-ish, I probably just wouldn't be shoving in the ace-9, you know. If I did want to commit with it, I'd probably 3-bet and juice and snap call it 4-bet jam sort of thing. But in this instance against this guy, we've seen him opening a fair bit, like he's loose. And to be honest, we saw him call a couple of times already, like he's a bit fishy. So I'm a little bit worried if I 3-bet he flats and we've got a hand that doesn't play well post out of position in a bloated pot, which is just not a good recipe at all. Pretty close there, Queen 4. I think I will let it go. And it looks like Zoga, it might almost be time for Zoga to lose his stack here. Nope, he gives it up. I actually think I remember this pads guy now. I didn't when I first got to the table, but I remember him crushing a final table I've been on before. 5, 6, 7. And he has just gone hog wild. He did wake up with aces before though, so I mean, it's not hard to destroy a table when you get aces at the right time, and he might even have a hand again. In fact, he's got the same hand as the other player, ace-jack, and he looks like he's getting a lot of hands, but it's making him look a bit crazy. And I think we just have to take this. Do we have to take this? I think we do. The reason why I'm hesitant is Pad's just snapped out a 3-bet. And it seems like he's got the nuts every hand, but I just don't think ace-jack four-handed. But kind of feels like he's got a hand, but he folds. Just makes a liar of me. And the thing about that hand is, if I say Pads is always folding, then you know what happens, don't you? He snap calls. So I was just trying to use the reversey. And I think 3-betting here is okay on the button. It does put us in a tough spot if he jams. I think he's just going to give up a lot, to be honest. Or he might call. So the important thing here, I think, is just to... we can play this a couple of different ways. We can raise flop, or we can just... I think we just jam flop, because there's already 52,000 out there. So we can go either way. I think he's folding. I mean, I do think he's folding a lot there. The thing that was going through my mind is that I was thinking maybe we can actually like call the donk bet and shove when he bets turn if he does. That's what was going through my mind, is that probably works pretty well. But I love the way he's playing. He's just donked into us again. Well, it's a good time now if we can wake up with a few hands. Pretty close to flooding there against Hess. But I think it actually a little bit suspicious. You know, I think a 3-bet actually is, you know, potentially looks a bit weaker. We are primed for a final table run here. What's in here? Wow, he has bet massive. And I don't think I'm going to fold just yet. I think he's got a hand like Ace 10, King 10 that he wants to protect, and so he's just betting huge. Having said that, with the backdoor flush, backdoor straight, top pair, I didn't quite feel ready to fold. It's just interesting that he smashed so hard. He just really did bet big on the flop. But, you know, I guess he can do that with some flush draws and stuff as well. Just wondering if we can call again here. It's a pretty bad board to be betting on. You know, just in general. It's kind of a tight fold. 10 jack. I think he might even check back turn with 10 jack. It's pretty close turn. We can call, we can ship, we can fold. I think we can do anything. It's kind of I mean, it looks like a really tight fold, and everyone's like, whoa, you folded. How did you fold? But I mean, he's bet really big on the flop on a really bad board, you know, that smashes our range. And then on the turn, he's barreled again, and it looks like he's setting it up for a river jam. He doesn't really have Jack 8 suited. I mean, Jack 8's suited in his range, not so much. But I mean, he can still have Ace 10. He can flop sets. He can have 9, 10. He can have, of course, some hands that still have pretty good equity against us, like Ace Jack of clubs and stuff like that, Jack Queen. If we just call turn, we're not folding river. But if it does come a king or a club or an 8 or a jack or a 7, we have a problem. And so even though I think we're actually probably getting the right price on the turn, I just don't know how often on the river we're going to be able to make the correct decision. You know, imagine the 1-card straight comes and then he shoves and we have to fold and he had a flush draw. Or imagine the flush hits and, you know, we check and he shoves. And then it turns out he had King Jack, double belly. You know what I mean? There's just so many ways for us to get owned on the river. And so with that in mind, a play that I actually don't mind is just to check shove the turn. But at the same time, you know, I think we can be getting it in crushed pretty often. So it's a really difficult spot. And yeah, I just decided once he barreled again just to give it up. And I think King 10 up, I'm probably just going to continue. But Ace 10 definitely probably just take it on the turn. But Queen 10 is just at that borderline one. I mean, he's not betting for value with worse. Maybe once in a blue moon 10 jack, but generally he's got us beaten if he's betting for value. And if he's semi-bluffing, he's likely got, you know, some sort of combo draw where he's got gut shot, flush draw, or maybe he's got the up and down or something like that. The interesting thing is, though, that he did bet very big on the flop. He kind of smashed flop. I don't know if I mean, generally players don't smash the flop with draws. Normally they bet a little bit smaller because they want to leave themselves a little bit more maneuverability for betting on later streets. And he sort of bet pretty big on the flop, which looked more like he was betting for protection to charge any draws on such a draw-heavy board, rather than just betting with a draw where he might bet, say, a little bit smaller, closer to half pot turn, and then SPR1 river shove, and set it up a little bit more carefully like that. Having said that, I mean, it was a tight fold, and you could definitely, I think calling is okay, but you are kind of risking your tournament life on the river if you make the wrong decision, because I think by the river, we would have been virtually playing 4 stacks. And let's just see it again. Yeah, I mean, 3, 5, 6, 7, yeah. I mean, I think calling for probably pre-flop is fine. I think calling, I mean, you can see this bet here is 2/3 pot, quite large. And he gets a card that's pretty bad. I mean, we can have a 9, we can have 8-9, we can have a straight, we can have a 10. And if we have a 7, I mean, our hand looks a bit better too. I think that he knows that, unless that he thinks that, unless he knows that we think he's going to know that. But I don't think so. So he bets here again. If we call now, I mean, he's betting 50 on the 1,000, not for our tournament life, sorry, but for the effective stack life. He has 50 left behind. We call there, and I mean, we just can never fold river if it bricks out, and there would be 62 in there, and he's only got 50 behind, so it's pretty hard to fold. So yeah, made the nitty fold, and it is what it is, and time will tell now how we finish up here, and if it's what's going to happen, I don't know, but hopefully it was the right decision, and hopefully we can make more good decisions. So tune in after the break and find out, or next part, as it may be for you.